So hard, so hard. Oh my god, the fact that the stack reaches this high is scary. Oh no, it's gonna fall. Oh no. Do you see how many books I have? I need to fix this. I want to be a minimalist. I do. Today, we are gathered here to brutally unhaul as many books as humanly possible. Hi everyone, I'm Jessica Nicole Dickerson, aka J&D, and welcome back to another video. So this is part 2 of the massive unhaul. Need to clear out some books. I have gotten to the point where there's books coming in that I'm so excited for that I'm looking at my shelves and I'm going, I have no excitement for you. A past reader bought this 2, 3, 5 years ago, was so excited to read this, and then now I'm like, it is time to rehome these babies to people who will appreciate them. Let's go. Also, if you're interested in purchasing any of my unhauled books and you live in the US, check out the description box below. Pango Books. I'm going to be selling them online for cheap, so go check it out. And if you use the discount code 5, what's it called? If you use the discount code JND5, you get a discount with checkout on top of already purchasing used books that are really discounted. So do that. I'm also going to be doing it a little differently than my last book haul because I don't want to pull every book off my shelves. I don't have the time today. We gotta hurry. We got things to do, things to conquer. So I'm just gonna pull books off the shelves and talk to you about them and see if I can get rid of now 12 books remaining out of the 30 book goal. Ooh, if you didn't see the first video, that was the initial goal. Okay, let's do it. First book I'm gonna get rid of is Don't Ask Me Where I'm From. This book was actually a 4-star read. I did enjoy it. I think it's a really important read. It's so impactful. But for me, I don't think I'd reread this book. And that is my personal goal for my collection, is to have a lot of books that I want to reread. Even if I don't actually end up rereading them. Things like the Red Queen series, The Last Magician, Fangirl. Those books are books that I just actually have reread many times and really enjoyed. Even if they're not like perfect, there probably some parts of them are problematic. They are definitely problematic. It's just for my personal reading collection, so that's what I want from my collection. Definitely a tip if you're unhauling things, have your own kind of personal goal. What do you want your bookshelves to look like, and then strive for that. So I really enjoyed this. I think I'm going to rehome this to someone who will appreciate it much more than I. Hopefully give it a 5-star and above. I really did enjoy this. This follows a girl who gets accepted into a special program and goes from being in a public school to a private school that has a lot more resources, but it is majority white students, and they are harassing and bullying a lot of these students that are specifically in this program to kind of help diversify this school. And there's so many great questions that are brought up, like, well, why are we trucking all these students to this really privileged area and not vice versa? Because both experiences are important, you know what I mean? But you know, we know where all the money's going. So this book also touches a lot on immigration. Something happens to her father within this story. We learn a lot about how being an immigrant in this world, in this country, what it's like and how people are treated. So I really loved a lot of the facets of this. I didn't like the writing style. That was the only thing that I didn't really enjoy as much. I didn't fall in love with that. That's the only thing that didn't make it a 5-star and makes it that I don't want to read it as much. But I noted, good book. Now I'm gonna give it to someone who's gonna hopefully love it. The next one that's going, which also hurts because it was also another 4-star, but I'm definitely not gonna reread this, sadly. Punching the Air by these amazing authors, Ibi Zoboi and Yusuf Salom. So this is a free verse, so it's written in poetry, but it still has a narrative to it, a narrative voice. And a boy is wrongly accused and imprisoned. It's juvenile detention, but it's still very serious. It depicts the seriousness of the situation, of how people like really don't root for you and belittle you, and how the system just perpetuates this problem of injustice and not giving people opportunities. It's pretty terrible, but the writing of this was really good, and I think the point it made was so amazing, and I highly recommend it. The only thing that I didn't personally connect with the character besides the fact that it's free verse, so there's less of the story. We also start the story at the beginning of his incarceration process, so you don't get to know him outside of that. But I think that's such an interesting tool, and what makes this book so interesting, and I think a lot of people will love it because of that. And this is also an arc of it, so when selling it, I'm literally going to sell it just for $1 just to cover the charges, so basically giving it away for free. But yeah, very good. I just personally wouldn't reread this. I do still want to read more of Yusuf Salone's work, and Ibby Savoy is also a favorite author of mine. I really enjoyed it. Highly recommend. I just don't think I would reread it because of that, not having that personal connection, but it doesn't mean I won't be reading more stories like that. I think they're all very important. I just don't necessarily need to purchase them. I also need to work on utilizing my library more. Who'da thunk? Who'da thunk? One day we're gonna get that library card. What? Okay, now we're moving on to this shelf because I don't think I can get rid of anything else in the white shelf area. Nope, I can't. Okay, to the red shelf. I think I'm going to part ways with The Furries by Katie Lowe. I bought this because Dark Academia, either last year or the year before, was really popping off, and I was like, oh, I love Dark Academia. Ooh, haven't picked it up. Haven't finished The Secret History, which is also a really big Dark Academia. I don't know why I keep doing this to myself, where I buy things because of the trend to read them, and then I just don't end up reading them, and I'm like, oh, maybe I don't like Dark Academia. Right now I'm very much in the mood for YA contemporary, like super fun YA contemporary, or really fun rom-com, like adult contemporary fiction. I also love sci-fi, adult sci-fi, YA sci-fi and fantasy. Like, those are the genres I'm leaning more towards. This reads more literary fiction because Dark Academia tends to do that really stuffy writing style, which some people love. Nope. Just not for me, not right now. Of course, like, this might be an amazing book. I just personally won't get to it for years. I'm in a little bit of a romance era, so I'm just knowing myself as a reader. I'm not picking this up anytime soon. I have also had this on my shelf for like 2 years and haven't read it, so gonna give it to one of you guys. Brand spanking new condition. Need to stop buying books. I say that as I have more books coming in. I know, I'm a hypocrite. Enjoy. I don't think I can get rid of anything else on this shelf. Oh, that's so hard. Just like things that might be, I think I should read The Night Circus just because of Hannah Clockwork Reader's favorite book, so I think I should read it. And I also love The Starless Sea, so it's so hard. But I also have a first in the series that I probably could toss, but I like just don't have the heart to. A Court of Thorns and Roses. I was thinking about doing a vlog series about that, but I don't know. And then I also have a Son of the Storm, which is the first in a series. Let me pull it out and stop being lazy. First in a series, haven't started it. The sequel's probably coming out very soon, but I want to hold on to it because I want it to be a good book, and this is a fantasy, a high fantasy, so an adult, so it's very exciting, but like so hard. And now we're on the green shelf. Not me not having a book to get rid of. Me and my brutal unhaul, not unhauling anything. The only thing I can think about unhauling is The Count of Monte Cristo, which is a giant classic, but I think that'd be so fun to read. Like, I love the movie, I've heard great things, and I'm definitely gonna listen to that book with an audiobook, 100%. And I also got it secondhand for like $1, so I don't feel inclined to get rid of it. So I think I'm not touching anything on this shelf. The only other series is the 5th season. I have the first installment of it, of the trilogy. Haven't gotten to it yet. I purchased this so many years ago, and I need to get to it. I know I'm gonna love it. Adult. I feel like this is fantasy with a dash of like dystopian energy. Nah. This seems like a fantasy. Ignore everything I said. I don't know this book. I haven't read it. Just heard a lot about it. Heard the hype, bought the book, then put it on my shelf, and never read it. I'm going to though. Now moving to my blue shelf, which is so funny because underneath my blue shelf are my 2 black shelves, so it's like you're not missing out on any color. You're golden. You got all the color. You can see everything that's important, which is color. This shelf, let's do some damage. Okay, let's go. First one, Gods of Jade and Shadow, which I think is a standalone. Heard good things, especially about this writer, Sylvia Moreno Garcia. Heard a lot of great things, but I'm also like haven't had the urge to pick this up in the years that I've had this, so I think I want to try the first chapter of this book and see if it would re-spark some, you know, some love, because right now I'm just like want to read literally everything else besides that book. So gonna just put that on the pile for now. I don't know about this one. I did also get this one just because I was like in a bookstore and I was like, oh, this seems so cool, and it's one of those books I picked up without knowing anything about it previously. So this is Song of Blood and Stone by L. Penelope. This is book 1 and I think like a 4 or 5 book series. I think I'm going to keep this one just because even though it's a big series, haven't started it, have so many other series that I need to read. I think I want to keep this because it is high fantasy and it has like black leads, and it's supposed to be like a really epic fantasy with a heavy romance, which I think I would really love, being that I'm in my cute little romance era. Oh, this next book. Oh, okay. I know it's so popular. Haven't read Six Crows, haven't read Shadow and Bone. I've watched the TV show, really enjoyed it. I don't know. I haven't been pulled to read this, besides after watching the TV show I was like, oh, I don't know. I think I was thinking about making a video of reading this, but then I could always just get it from the library. You know, I don't need to physically have these books unless they're 5 stars and I would literally kill for them. Like the Poet X, I'd kill for her. You come between us, I'd end you. I wouldn't hurt anybody. Maybe. Next is a book by Brandy Colbert, and it is Finding Yvonne, which I personally really liked. I gave it a 4-star. I think it also talks about a lot of great things. It talks about like sex life and love and romance as a young adult, which I think a lot of books shy away from, but I think it's so important to have that representation. It's a big part of life that we're constantly told is so important. Find someone to marry, find someone to love, blah blah blah. And I just loved how this book was so sex positive, but also not like inappropriate or weird or uncomfortable. It talked about a lot of uncomfortable things, but it was also still really good, and it was all about her kind of discovering herself. So really enjoyed this, but I don't think I'd reread it. It's just not a personal favorite. Like when I think of personal favorites, I'd be like thinking of, what is this? The Love and Lives of Roxanna Lee by Sabina Khan is an all-time favorite. Oh, it's a queer book, happy pride. Yeah, she's a lesbian and she has a girlfriend, and her parents find out and they ship her off to, where do they ship her off to, man? Oh, Bangladesh. They send her off to Bangladesh when they find out, which, if you don't know, it's illegal to be gay there, so it's literally dangerous, and they try and like fix her. It's a crazy story that I really love and love to reread. So this, I think, is so important, and someone out there will love this book as much as I love this, or with Poet X or other stories. It's just not for me. It was a pleasant read. I don't think I need it in my library. I don't need to lug it around with me every move. Do you see how many books I have? I need to fix this. I want to be in the list. I do. I really do. The only other book I have that I might toss is, what is this called? Always Never Yours by Emily Wimberly and Austin some Broca. I've heard people talk about these authors a lot. There are a couple that writes a lot of YA contemporary. I think they have like 5 books out. This one specifically has a Shakespearean representation, like they're doing a Shakespeare play. It's supposed to be really cute. I think I might do a triad chapter, but I have so many other contemporaries that I really want to read and get to that are releasing constantly, and backlist stuff like Don't Read the Comments has been on my list to read. I'm so excited for it. It's a contemporary with people who are like influencers and gamers online, like me myself being a booktuber. I feel like I would connect to that. Ooh. Another contemporary is Counting Down with You. This seems really romantic and cute and gushy. So I just have so many other books that have a lot of representation that I personally would love. Like I like Shakespeare, but other than that, okay, I'm gonna just put this maybe in the try a chapter video and see how I like that. But I just have so many other books I'm so excited for. Speaking of books I'm excited for, I just have to mention Akata Woman. So excited. The audiobook finally released, so I'm definitely going to be listening to it soon. Now, moving on to the black books, and I think I can get rid of a lot of them. And I'm excited, which I know is counterintuitive, like I love books, but I'm also so excited for so many other books. Okay, let's do it. this might come as a shock to you. To the people who know and understand my love for Red Queen, they might be like, Realmbreaker by Victoria Aveyard, the author of the Red Queen series. Hello. I've had this for a year, bought it on release, was hyped for it. I have no idea what this series is about, besides that there's a realm that's breaking. And that Victoria Aveyard wrote it. I've read the first chapter, which is kind of like a prologue about like how the realm is like breaking, and I thought it was interesting. I didn't even get to the part where the main girl character was introduced, so I feel inclined to hold on to this, but at the same time not. I'm like, maybe I should actually read the series that I want to read, because I just don't have any inkling to read this currently. Sounds mean. This next series everyone's gonna yell at me about, but you know what, girl's gotta do what she's gotta do. Gotta get rid of these. I purchased these on Book Outlet eons ago because I was like, oh, Cassandra Clare, everyone loves her, Shadowhunters, yeah. I haven't watched any of the Shadowhunter shows. I haven't watched any of the like videos talking about these specific books because I wanted to be surprised by the series. But I've been doing that for how many years? Like 5 years I've been dodging Shadowhunters stuff so I could have my own experience with them. Mind you, I probably am still going to be dodging Shadowhunter stuff because I eventually want to get to it, but it's just not happening anytime soon. And these are fabulous covers. I got them for cheap on Book Outlet as like a set. I just haven't read them, and I think someone else would really appreciate them. And whenever I read this series, I'm definitely going to do it through the library because I don't think I need to have these on hand unless I absolutely love them. And I totally understand. There's such a large following of people who are obsessed with the Shadowhunters series, all of them, because I know there's a lot of them. I'm gonna take my time. If I ever get into this really long, thick catalog that Cassandra Clare has, currently I don't need to own them. I'm not obsessed with her. I don't know anything about Shadowhunters, so I'm going to tuck this away. Next is a book I've tried reading a couple times and just haven't gotten into. I think I love the premise of it, but it's just not the writing style. I don't think it's for me. But it's a really cool premise, The Library of the Unwritten. So basically this is a book where, imagine every author who starts a book and doesn't finish it, that book gets trapped in book hell. And there's people managing book hell to make sure all the books and stories stay where they belong. And then a book breaks out, and now these two librarians have to go rush and grab it. It's a really fun premise, but I wasn't too intrigued by it. So I think my mom gave me that, so I don't know if I'm gonna sell it or give it back to my mom. Gotta figure that out. Next we have almost through the book, Lost Stars. It's a Star Wars story. I love Star Wars, Star Trek, MCU, DC, Batman's my fave, anime, manga, cartoons. I'm a huge fat nerd is what I'm saying, but I just haven't had the time to get to this. It's been so long. I purchased this so long ago, and I know this is actually more focused on romance, which you would think, Jess, you're in your romance era and it's sci-fi and it's Star Wars, so what are you doing? I'm just not excited about this. I don't know if it's the writing style. Tried to pick it up a few times and I just haven't fallen in love with it. So I think I'm gonna proudly put it to the side and help someone else find their new love for Star Wars romance. So respectfully declined. Next, I'm so sad about this. I was so excited for this arc, Survive the Dome by Kosoko Jackson. I do like Kosoko Jackson's writing. I have read some of his previous work. Again, it wasn't like my favorite, so I ended up unhauling it, but it's always such an interesting premise. This personally tackles a lot of like dialogue on police brutality, so I haven't been wanting to read this as a fictional story because I feel like for me, fiction, I tend to want just a little bit more fun, but I also do love that there's queer rep and there's that kind of romance in it. I just couldn't get into it. I was always just so disheartened opening this book, which is interesting because I read a lot of other stories, but I think because they're fictional and like YA contemporary, it feels more escapist even if they talk about serious subjects, whereas this is like YA, like dystopian sci-fi, where there's literally a dome trapping these individuals and a means to help protect them. Really interesting premise. I think I like personally Kosoko Jackson's writing. I just think this book right now kind of hurts my feelings. Oh, let me take the bookmark out. Cute little bookmark. I don't know. It is an ARC, so I'm gonna sell it for real cheap, like $1, just to anyone who wants it. But it just wasn't for me, and it makes me so sad to say that. I was really looking forward to it, but it hurt a little too much to read about that dystopian world. I was like, this is too real. This is not escapism. This is not fun. And I do read mostly for fun, for myself. So, and occasionally I'll pick up something that's more educational, but then I like it to lean more towards memoir-esque things. Dystopian, but it's weird because I also really like, I don't know, it's complicated. I have complicated feelings. I'm a complicated person. Okay. Next is the first in the series. I think I'm going to put this in the tri-chapter video. Black Sun by Rebecca Roundhouse. I don't know how to say words. Don't ask me. I've had this for a really long time. I have the audiobook for it. Should read it. Haven't. I really like the first sentence of it. Let me read it for you. It's a really good first sentence. Today, he would become a god. His mother had told him so. I just think it's just a great setup. So I feel like I'd like this book. I know a lot of people loved or hated it or whatever. So I think I'm going to try the first chapter and see if I want to keep reading this series. Because it's the first of a series. And that's the problem. I have bought so many firsts in a series or whole series of books. And then I'm like, okay, when am I going to read it? When am I going to get to it? And am I so excited about it years after as my reading taste adapts? So next we have another book outlet purchase, science fiction. That's all I really know. Sky without stars. I'm assuming the world becomes so like mechanical and like so like I'm thinking like buildings and like how it like literal planet structure, but now they don't see stars. That's why I thought it's a big sci-fi. It's YA. It's a series. I was interested in diving more into sci-fi, but now I have a few series that I'm interested in diving into, and this one hasn't been calling to me, though I've had it for forever. I got this like years ago, and I don't think I need to try the chapter, but it is a used and well-loved book, so hopefully I can find another person to continue to take care of it and love it and appreciate it for the book that it is. This one hurts because I did enjoy the first chapter of this. I got this on a Barnes & Noble sale one year. Oof, back when I like lived in Hawaii, so almost like 6 years ago. There's a lot of purchases I made as a young adult from like the age of 18 till now, where I'm just like, I just bought a lot of things because I don't know. But this is Legacy of Kings, a long series by Ellerin Herman. I think that's how you say her name. I enjoyed the first chapter of this book, which is why I purchased it, but then I just never kept reading it, and I just haven't been called to it. It just seems like another big fantasy world where people are fighting and stuff. And right now when it comes to fantasy, I need just something a little extra to pull me in, because there's just so many like Game of Thrones out there that are like kingdoms falling apart. It's obviously probably going to be a very cool fantasy story. I just don't think there's necessarily an element that I love that would call me to actually read it within my lifetime. Maybe when I'm 40. Okay, and then we also have the Lastnamasara, I think is how you say it. This is like a dragon YA fantasy. It's a trilogy. I saw a couple booktubers read it and really like it, but I don't think, not anytime soon anyway. I don't think I'm going to purchase it. I think I bought it on Book Outlet, possibly. For cheap. I got a lot of these books on sale for cheap, and I was just buying things because I had heard a booktuber mention that they like it, so mistakes were made. That's why I think it's healthy to have both book hauls and book unhauls on channels and discussing just honest opinions, because yeah, sometimes I buy a book because someone told me they loved it, and that's sometimes a great reason to buy a book, but then also sometimes it's like years later and I'm like, why did I buy this book? I now realize I don't have the same reading taste as them, or I just have literally 200 books behind me that I'm so excited for, and I don't know when I'm going to read this ever, if ever. So maybe in the future. That's it. Let's count and see how many books I got rid of in this video and in last video. I think I did some damage. Ooh. 18, and I did 18 in the last video. That makes 10, 20, 16, 36 books. I reached my goal of unhauling 30 books and did bonus points. Yes. Okay, very excited clearly. And I probably am going to be doing more unhauls too as time goes on. Gotta cull the collection, you know, and I also have to limit what I bring in. So unhauling 36 and hopefully not bringing in another 40 or 50, because I think that was the thing I used to do. I used to unhaul like 10 books, but then I'd bring in like 50 books a year, which is how I got the collection that I got. And I did purchase a lot of secondhand and books on sale, so don't think I'm rich or anything. I'm just crazy and don't budget well. You might be in the same boat as me, which crazy not in a bad way, crazy in the good, book-loving, obsessed way. That's it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Leave down below this emoji if you made it to the end of today's video, and that means you are the real MVP, and it always means so much to me to see your guys' emojis in the comments. I'm so bad at replying to everybody, but I see all your comments constantly, and it's like the reason why I keep making videos. It's very fun. I love chatting with you guys or seeing your guys' comments. It just means the world. But yeah, again, check out my description below. If you're interested in purchasing any of these books and you live in the US, use the discount code, get a little discount in your purchase. I will leave the information in the description box below. I don't know why my brain was melting there. I hope this video gave you a little bit more sunshine, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!